Hey guys, NV here, and in this video, we're going to do another photo effect. I already have the photographs loaded in Photoshop. If you do not have these photographs, you can download them from the link below this video. Now, my goal here, let me zoom in here, is to create as if a UFO was captured by a camera, okay? Now, I want to say that this is all in fun and it would be neat to do the effect. I've seen photos that supposedly are really captured UFOs. I don't have a problem with that, and I'm not making fun of anyone that does believe or has experienced seeing UFOs in real life. I personally haven't, but again, this I'm just wanting to do the effect, all in good fun. And this is the photo that we're going to create the scene in. Here's the photo that we're going to use to create the UFO. Okay. So, but before I do this, before I mask this out, because I want this donut right here, but before I do that, I'm going to go back into this folder and I want to this tab and I want to duplicate this background layer. And I'm going to double click on that background layer copy and I'm going to name it UFO captured. Okay. I'm going to right click on that, convert to smart object. I'm basically prepping this scene here for the effect. I'm going to duplicate this one as well. And I'm going to right click on that, convert to smart object. And one more time, we're going to go into that one. And what I'm going to do is make a couple of folders. I'm going to alt click and select on this folder right here. And I'm going to name this UFO. Okay. And I'm going to do another folder, alt click and call it the text. Okay. Now what I want to do is leave it like it is for right now. I'm going to go back to this folder here, this tab. We'll slide this over here. I'm just clicking and dragging over. And what I want to do is duplicate this layer. And I'm going to tap the Q key on the keyboard. Make sure your foreground is black right here. You can tap the X key. And if they're different colors, and if you want to change that back to default, tap the D key. And I'm going to tap the B key on the keyboard. And this is the size I want, I believe. Let's see. Yeah. And I want to keep it at 90 because I think it's pretty good. I'm not going to go into trying to be perfect here because the effect I'm going to do to this, it won't matter, okay, too much. But let's go ahead and click and just mask out the top of this donut, just like so. And that should be pretty good. And I'm going to go ahead and tap the Q key on the keyboard, zoom out here. And this is a marching ants on the outside of the document. So on the whole control, tap the control and shift, tap the I key. This inverses our selection to where just the donut is being selected. I'm going to tap the V key on the keyboard. And all I'm going to do is select this mask right here. And I'm going to hide the background layer. And you can see just that's masked out. I'm going to double click on that layer right there, this text, and call it UFO. Right click on that, convert to smart object. Now what I want to do, and if you like this and you don't want to have to remask this, we can save this right here, okay? So we can go to File, and we can name it our work file. Let's just say, just like so, and click Save, okay? That way you can load this up at any time and use it, okay? So what I'm going to do is click on this with the Move tool, select this tab right here, and release. And we're going to have to scale this down considerably. I'm going to close this out. So what I'm going to do first is double click on UFO. I'm going to name it UFO1. And I'm going to go ahead and hold control, tap the T key. I'm going to select this input field here. And I'm going to drag it, scale it down to about, I'm going to say about 15 actually. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to move it up here somewhere. And I'm going to duplicate this, Control J, and Control and the close bracket key kind of moves it below layer 1. And double click on that and change it to 2. Okay, UFO 2. I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to click on that one and drag up to about somewhere over here. I'm going to scale that down a little bit more as well. Control T. And I'm going to say about 9, somewhere around there. Click OK. Confirm it. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Something like that. And now what I'm going to do is duplicate, double click on this one right here. And I'm going to duplicate it. Actually, let me close this out because what I did, let me get rid of this one here, okay? Because when I wanted to duplicate it, it's a smart object. So I want to edit one and not the other. Okay, so for example, if I duplicate this layer now, and let's say I just change the color. So I'm gonna invert it and then save it, just so you can see what I'm talking about. Now they're both affected, okay? And I don't want that. So I'm gonna undo those, right click, and right here, new smart object via copy. And now we're gonna name this 2. Move that. Let's move these in the UFO folder for one. And got 1 and 2. So now if I go into 1 and invert it, again, I'm just doing this for a visual example. It won't affect the other one. Okay. That's what I want. So I'm going to have to redo this and move that up again. Control T to scale it down. I'm going to put 9. Confirm that. Just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to double click on UFO 1. Duplicate that one right there, that layer. Go to our patch tool, which is the J key. And it's right here. Okay. And I'm just going to click in here and just select the hole over the hole. Just like so. Might be too much. Let me redo that. Select about right there. Just like so. I'm going to click and drag about there and release. Kind of fills it in. Close the X, or you can hold control, tap the W key. Does the same thing as using the X key. I'm at the X button right there. Okay. Now let's select 2 and do the same thing. And just like so. And save that one so it can update. So now they have no holes. What I want to do is go to filter, blur, shape blur. Oops, sorry, that's the wrong one. Shape blur. And I want to select these, let's say wildlife or the animals here. And let's make it, and let me crank this up to about, say, 20. So it really blurs it, as you can tell. And I'm going to select the giraffe here. And if you don't see these, click on this gear icon and select restore default shapes, and they will appear down here. Okay. Click OK. Again, the value radius is at 20. And I'm going to select 2 and do the same thing basically. Shape blur. And except on this one, I may select the ostrich because it seems to do some pretty cool effect. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Might scale that down. I don't know. Yeah, let's keep it at 20. And click OK. Another thing I want to do is double click on 2. Come down to the fill and adjustment icon, select black and white. And let's select, I want it pretty bright. I'm going to select yellow filter right there. There we go. And close that out. Say yes so it can update. And you can tell it's here. Right now, it's not tied in too well. And we could do the same with this one. I don't know if I want to, but we'll see. If we don't like it, we can always uncheck it. Okay, so we have that. So what I'm going to do real quick is go ahead and close that and say yes. I'm going to update this document right now. Staying on this layer, go up to filter, and I'm going to go to camera raw, okay? And I'm going to go right here to this hamburger icon, this little icon right there. I'm going to select load settings. I'm going to use my custom settings that I have. I'm going to select this one right here, and I'm going to break it down to show you what I've added. And I can't remember if this is a default setting, but if it isn't, let's just say in the sharpening, right here, radius 1.0, detail 25, and that's it. Now we're just going to go to the FX, and it says grain, amount 40, size 85, roughness 75. Okay. Post crop vignetting, I want in style, highlight priority, amount -25, midpoint 45, roundness 0, feather 65, and highlights 0. Click OK. And that will update. Okay. And that looks pretty cool. It's pretty neat. Yeah. But what I'm going to do now that I notice how light those are, but before I do that, what I'm going to do is go to filter, down to sketch and half tone patterns. Ooh, let's make this about, let me zoom out. So I'm right clicking on this area here, this view. Select about 50, I think, maybe a little bit more. 33. There we go. And I'm gonna make this about 2 and 2. And I want to make it dots. It gives us kind of like this print matte screen print look. I'm gonna click OK. See that? Looks pretty cool. So what I'm gonna do now is go to filter, blur, and box blur. And I want this to be about 8. There we go. Think 8. Let's see. I'm gonna do it one more time. I'm just needing to see. I'm gonna actually select 7. And right here on the box blur, right here, this little slider, double click on that. And we're gonna turn the opacity down a little bit. Let's say about 70 for now. If we need to change it, we can come in here and change it later. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And now what I want to do is double click back into this object filter, smart object. And I'm going to disable the black and white on one for a moment. Yeah, I just want to see if how it looks with one black and white and the other isn't. Okay. And what I want to do now is add some text. But before I do that, I'm going to tap the M key on our keyboard. This gives us the marquee tool. I want the square one. Okay. And I'm going to click out here, click and drag, and I'm going to kind of make it like a little box, a little thin box right there. From the fill adjustment icon and select this solid color. And then we'll make it less like a dark gray almost, something like that. Come around there, click OK. Now tap the T key on your keyboard. And I don't know if that's the font I want. I want a white font color. And let's just say, oh my God, it's a donut. And what I'm going to do, put it right there in the box. I'm going to control click on that just to try to even it. V key, vertically and horizontally. And it's pretty centered. And by the way, I got this through Adobe Fonts. Okay. If you don't have it, you can go with Arial or something like that. It works just fine. I'm just choosing this text because it's just there. And now I think what I'm gonna do is come down to the fill adjustment icon, select black and white, and let's see. I think I'm gonna choose blue filter, and I'm gonna hold Alt and Shift, sorry, and I'm gonna put this in a folder called black and white. Okay, just like so. And now I'm just gonna close this out. Control W and say yes, so it can update the document. And now you can see it has a little bit more of an older effect. It's pretty cool. It's affected our text. Pretty neat. Again, I'm not trying to be believable here. I'm just making the effect, showing you a good idea how to start doing this kind of thing. And you can be as realistic with this as you choose. You can even select, say, one of these, the slider on halftone patterns. You can crank down the opacity to 60 and do the same with camera raw. And you can crank down the volume, the opacity, and kind of create that color. Okay, color photo, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Just showing you variations that you can do, so it doesn't have to be black and white. Okay. See, so I just wanted to show you that you have tons of flexibility here. But I'm gonna keep it all black and white and like it is. I could lighten this, but I think it's fine where it is. I really do. You can even blur these more or less. It's just your own personal preference. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. Photo effect 10. Save. Save it as an image as well. Just like so. And I like it. Like I said, we could have stayed here and done quite a bit of other things, but I like it where it is. Again, it's a good foundation and it looks pretty cool. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here. And until next time, I will see you in another video.